Right. Hey there, everybody. It is great to be back and talking more about phosphate. Phosphate, the movie, phosphate, the problem, phosphate, the necessity, phosphate, well, possible necessity. We'll talk about that later, too. I've got a really amazing guest coming on that knows all about organic growing. And we're going to talk about not only the war on environmentalists that we are seeing shape up in front of our eyes. And this is a problem that has been lasting for quite a while within this movement that we're all part of, which is fighting for clean water, fighting for clean land. It's a no-brainer. It just goes say. So anyway, the reason is, so for people that are just tuning in that do not know me, my name is Eric Crown, directed a movie called Phosphate. There it is. And it's phosphate, the thing, but it's F-A-T-E. Now, the reason I made this movie is I've been traveling around the world trying to help, trying to find a way to give back after my cancer had been diagnosed as something that they just couldn't figure out exactly and couldn't treat. That left me with a questionable timeline. I always say when you get cancer, some people get a death sentence and some people get a life sentence. And I was very lucky to get a life sentence so far. And I have been able to travel and try to make a difference and try to make an impact in other people that are going through environmental cancers. People shouldn't get cancer because of where they live. And a lot of it can be prevented because it has to do with industry. And it also has to do with stopping it at the source. Now, that is something that everybody has in common here we're going to talk about. So made this movie. I had been traveling and I heard about this place in Florida where these really high cancer rates were happening. And there was phosphate mining. I'd never heard of phosphate mining. So as I got back to America, I decided I want to go find out, because if communities are being poisoned, we have to go make a difference and try to stop it. And I want to meet the people that are on the front line, because the only way you can ever really learn is going to the front line. You can't sit back. You have to go see what everybody's going through. And I met the most amazing people. If you have not seen the movie yet, you can see it for free on Tubi. It's about education. It's not about making money. As a matter of fact, before we start all this, I would love to say that it was self-funded and we have never made a penny on the movie. And again, that's not what it's for. We don't rate our success of the movie by that. What we rate our success of the movie by is how many people become aware, especially for our friends in Florida or friends that are thinking about moving to Florida. Florida is one of the most beautiful places I have ever been, especially in America. It's gorgeous out here. You've got the Everglades, you've got the springs, you've got the middle of Florida, which is orange groves and just these beautiful, wide open places. It's amazing. It's almost like a mini version of America. You have the East Coast, which is kind of like New York City, and it's very fast paced. You've got this beautiful Midwest section, which is called Bone Valley, a lot of it. And that is the area that we focused on in the movie. So what are we talking about today? We are basically talking about this movie and myself and everybody involved in it being painted as Chinese propaganda experts, I guess. They said that this movie was made by the Chinese government in order to help influence policy. Now, that is such a lofty thing. This sounds insane, right? I mean, it really does sound insane, but I want to share with you. So I always wait for my Google alert, and I never really see my name pop up anywhere. And here it is for the first time, and it says, the film Phosphate by Eric Crown has been shown in U.S. communities. Protect your communities from foreign influence and safeguard American values from business, which is something I completely agree that we have to make sure to be careful with what we're doing. So the crazy thing is I think everybody really agrees with what their goal is, but they got it all wrong. We couldn't stop laughing. We thought it was like a parody or something. We're like, there's no way this is real. So all of a sudden we were able to find this thing that went out by Debbie Dooley, who runs the America First Tea Party. And it just says that the film Phosphate is linked to Chinese Communist Party, which it's not. And we're going to talk about that. is being shown in Florida in Hardy County. So we were screening on Miners Day to help all the miners in Mosaic and other areas. A lot of the people in our movie are ex-miners or people that were miners or still work as miners and wanted to stay anonymous. It affects everyone's health. I mean, it's a big topic, and having cancer, it's important that we battle it. So all of a sudden we see our name attached to a Chinese communist propaganda piece. And you think, first of all, it's offensive. First, it's just offensive to put your heart and soul into something. And we're squeezing dollars out of it. And I'll show everybody the truth of it. But the other thing is, the people you're going to see in this movie, and you're going to meet a few of them here soon, and we're going to talk about this movie and what they're saying. They're saying that these people are actors that are working against American interests. You've never met more patriotic people. I can guarantee you that. Guarantee you that. These people are amazing, and they're true patriots, and they fight for what's right regardless of the political party. And it's amazing. There's so much unity in Florida. They really have become my environmental heroes, and it's been an amazing pleasure to be able to meet everybody way back in 2019. And we had our screening in Tampa in 2022. The movie came out in 2021. So that is the genesis of the movie. Now, the movie itself, okay, so anyway, let's talk about that. So we have been accused of being paid for by the Chinese government. So what I'd like to do is share with everybody the video, which would be, let's pop everybody on here. I'm going to show you the video. The first thing we heard about was Debbie saying, protest this Hardy County screening. We're like, what? Why would somebody protest Hardy County screening? This makes no sense. Hardy County's even in the movie. It doesn't seem like it makes any sense. And wait, do I see Garrett here on with us? Okay. There you go. Hey, Garrett, you're on screen.
How you doing?
Hey,
thanks for having me.
Garrett Ramey, who's in the movie and also one of the residents that is fighting for cleaner America. So, Garrett, yeah, hang here with us as we talk about everything here. So we turn it on, and here we are, the House Natural Resources Subcommittee field hearing on critical minerals access. There is somebody named Mr. Krim. Now you can check out, we have another video on there. This guy, as you can see, this guy comes on and says that we are Chinese. We're paid for by the Chinese government. And we're like, what? How did this even begin? Now, we don't really know where Mr. Krim originated this idea. Now, let's explain really fast. The idea is that there was a report, and this is true, and this is the problem. This is where they launch from truth in order to go after us. There is a report that Chinese operatives are working in America against American interests. Now, that might be done by some infighting in groups, but he made a leap to somehow we did it. Now, one of the theories we have goes to our next step in this crazy slander attempt that these guys have been doing. And please chime in with any questions you have. I see 4 viewers right now. I'm sure 2 of them are probably lawyers for these guys that we're talking about at the moment. So Steve Krim says we are Chinese communist operatives. Now this is insane. So we're going to pop out of there. Now, first of all, how did the movie get made? I do want to share with everybody quickly. It was done by an Indiegogo campaign. It was done here. Let me share with everybody the actual Indiegogo campaign itself. We called the movie Apathy at the time because we didn't want anybody to know we were doing. Apathy, an environmental investigation. Now we raised $1,300. There's me. This is the campaign. Now this is how the movie was funded. This lie that it was funded by the Chinese government's absurd. Now, when you watch the movie, we told everybody we spent a little bit more on it. We had one or two investors that did help us with some water tests afterwards. But this $1,300, I mean, I was living in a friend's area that had no electricity in it. We were just doing everything we could to get this movie made. The story is more important than anything. And this is what I want to bring up about this movie. I'm not the only person that sacrificed. A lot of people in this movie sacrificed to get this movie made. So fact number one, we were not paid for by anybody except for a couple amazing people that stepped into this Indiegogo campaign. And they're the real heroes. They're the people that enabled our story to be told. So that is point number one. And we want to combat this misinformation because first of all, it's hurtful to hear something this, but it's also ridiculous. And they're not retracting it. So, we can't live in a world where people just throw out words and have no way to back it. It's potentially injuring a lot of people out here, and they know they can get away with it because they're a political force, and we are just, we're grassroots people. Hey, Tiffany, I see that you've joined us. They are projecting. It tells us what they are doing. That's a great point. Great point. These guys are right. And you know what, Tiffany, as a matter of fact, it's interesting you mentioned that. Before we bring on our guests, which are coming on very soon, we have actually, so what you just said is very prophetic because we think we may have found what they're projecting onto us. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. I love that. Okay, so here we go. December 6th is coming around. We're very excited. We're going to go to Hardy County. It's a public library free screening. Suddenly, the Tea Party is saying that they want to protest us. They don't understand how the screening even happened, and they want answers. So, I mean, it's a public library. Anybody's allowed to go. Absurd. As a matter of fact, though, I have to say, Debbie Dooley, now let's just get all out in the open here. We called Debbie Dooley because I thought this is so much misinformation. She's going to want to hear the truth. She strikes me as somebody who's very sincere in what she wants to accomplish, which is really, really to gain American independence in energy and to be self-reliant. And she really seems like in her heart, she believes in a bipartisan approach to making change for the future. So I thought, well, I'll just call her. She's bound to be somebody that's cool. And she answered the phone. We called her right off the press release. So she was very, very wonderful. And I thought Debbie, I thought speaking to her was great. And I thought that she would give us sort of the opportunity that we deserve to talk to her and to say, this is what we wanted. Now, again, I wanted to share with everybody, this is the press release that they did put out about us. Now you can see it's the America First Tea Party, Wauchula. I don't know, who knows when the last time Wauchula was in the news, right? Now, I just want to bring everybody down for a second and take a look at this part right here. Now, I'm going to highlight it so it's a little bit easier to see. This is where it all gets convoluted. So she thinks, okay, there is a problem with China coming in. It is down here. You can see at the ONI. Now, this is the ONI's risk assessment that China has been redoubling its efforts. Now, that is, I mean, who are we to say that's not a true thing? That's a big report. It's been done by people way smarter than myself. Now, somehow Kremlin jumps to the idea that we do this because we are against Mosaic. They think. Now, we're never against Mosaic. What we want to do is have them mine responsibly and stop getting people sick and stop trying to bully their way into small towns. Let these small towns be self-determined with the constitutional rights that they are given. Can't wait. Garrett is going to be popping on here soon, everybody. So if you got your questions, start thinking about them. So anyway, here's how it bounces. So Debbie sees the ONI must be real. Suddenly the House subcommittee, we were surprised to be on C-SPAN, having somebody say this about us. But wait, it's just like getting a Ginsu knife. There's more. Okay, it gets even crazier. So they're saying that like somehow our movie is changing policy making, which I wish it would, because people in there really are asking for policy change, not for Chinese benefit, but they just want to stop getting cancer, And as somebody with cancer, I understand that. And it makes me very angry that these people are trying to twist this thing that we're doing, which is to try to stop people from getting sick. I hope nobody out there watching has family members with cancer. And I hope nobody out there gets cancer. There is a new rate that they're saying one in two men will get cancer, 1 in 3 women will get cancer. But I saw a report last night saying that women's numbers are actually starting to surpass that, and cancer rates in people under 50 have risen 80%. So this is not a Wachula problem. This is not a Florida problem. This is a nationwide, worldwide cancer problem. We need to stop this cancer before it grows. And somehow this cancer is of an idea started, and Debbie Dooley put it together. Now, again, we reached out to Debbie. She said, give me an email. I have not heard back from her. So we don't know. We're hoping there's an open dialogue. I asked Debbie Dooley, maybe we can work together and talk about this topic together and be together and talk about this. So I don't know. She's somebody very interesting. And I find her as a non-political person. Just so that's out there too. I don't want this to become about politics in as much as it is about crooked politics. Now, the reason I bring up crooked politics is I want to take everybody to our next player in our act here, which is, let's see, what is her name? Jenna Persons. Now, Jenna is the House of Representatives representative of Lee County, who met with Krim here on November 12th, 2024. Let's watch the video and talk about what they say.
Technical error.
Okay. All right. Oh, did you guys know? You guys weren't able to see that one?
No.
Nope. Okay. Sorry. 1 second. Okay. Here we go.
Chinese Communist Party was funding the making of certain short films to influence policy. And one of those films was the film Phosfate.
The producer was a group called Cinema Libre, which a Chinese national was in charge of.
They're funneling those funds through domestic charities who use those funds to influence local government policies, all with the goal of harming America and our way of life.
Okay. So now we have, I guess now we're a short film. Nobody has seen this movie, obviously. Okay, so this is the first part of it. I mean, what are these people thinking? Hey, Mari, nice to see you. Thank you for coming over. Did the sound work now that we tried it again? Please let me know. So if not, we're also going to put the link up here and we'll make it everything available. So this smear campaign continues, and all of a sudden we're in Lee County, and Lee County says, no, these guys are part of this communist plot. Now, this is really crazy. So what we have decided to do was, our goal has always been to screen in as many places as we can. So again, we had this wonderful screening out in Hardy County. Lots of amazing people showed up. We had Matt the welder, good friend of ours, Garrett Ramey, who you're going to meet here soon and get a chance to talk to. And we're trying to really work with the Right to Clean Water petition because, I personally feel that what they're doing will really give everybody amazing access to clean water. And then we went and we had a wonderful screening in Lee County with Jenna Persons-Mulicka, Persons-Mulicka's hometown. So we wanted to continue our screenings everywhere. Now, the reason that we wanted to bring up Jenna Persons-Mulicka is because if you look at where she is funded from, and somebody actually from the movie put this on the post that you guys just saw, but Mosaic has sent her money, as well as the Florida Phosphate Political Committee. Now, there's not too many phosphate companies in Florida, so Mosaic has their hand in all of this. Now, when we put the movie out, they tried to get the movie off the market right away by reaching out to the studio. And the studio said, no, we're not going to do that. And this, I just wanted to share with everybody. This here is Cinema Libre. Okay, there we go. So this is Cinema Libre. They put out a lot of different types of movie that you may have heard of: The End of Poverty, Gas Hole, Vaxxed. They have done quite a few. Can't Stand Losing You, by the Police. So they work on a lot of social justice movies. And they said that they would be willing to stand behind the movie when things got rough. And Mosaic said, take it off the market. So they allowed me to respond to Mosaic. So now we're seeing the next attack on us, which is absolutely absurd. So we've reached out to Mr. Krim. We've reached out to Jenna Persons-Mulicka. We've reached out to Debbie. And I said, again, Debbie was beyond wonderful to speak to. And we're really looking forward to maybe we can clear up this misinformation. Because that's the thing is Mr. Krim, I don't know if he just made an assumption, and everybody knows what happens when you chop up the word assume. So, and it's true right here. It's making an ass out of everybody. So, somehow he made a big mistake in his thinking, and that mistake, whether it was paid for, we do not know, or if it was just lack of understanding, we do not know. If it was maybe intentional to try to fundraise, or maybe intentional as a scare tactic to fit into a larger scare tactic by these giant companies, we don't know. We don't know how this happened, but we do know that Mr. Krim was at that meeting you saw with Jenna, and that was here in Lee County, Florida. And that is where we had our screening, and we wanted to share it with everybody. And we're going to continue screening. We have screenings coming up in Sarasota. We are working right now to get a screening in Bartow, where Mosaic's headquarters are. We want everybody to come out to our screenings. We want to continue promoting conversations and education. So this is what we have been dealing with, and we think it's absolutely absurd and crazy because, again, first of all, for us to be called Chinese operatives and for this movie to somehow have been paid for, which would mean that everybody in this movie was an actor designed after one goal, is absolutely not only, like I said, absurd, it's dumb, and it's hurtful. Because a lot of these people in this movie are very strong patriots, and we're going to get to talk to, we're going to bring Garrett on here in just a second. So I wanted to share with everybody the truth and versus the misinformation. Again, not paid for by Chinese. It is paid for by Indiegogo that I ran after I came back from working overseas on Earth Race. I came back penniless. I wanted to do a movie. I had nothing to contribute except my skills. And I was upset because my cancer tumor had been growing again. And I wanted to investigate more about environmental cancers. And I came back to work on this project after hearing about the cancer rates in Florida. So that's the genesis of the movie. As a matter of fact, Mitch Allen did a video at the Phosphate Museum, and I saw the high number of the Geiger counter. That's what really got me. And I thought they're having kids go there. They're exposing children to cancer. This is so irresponsible, and it made me so enraged. So that's why we started the movie. And that's why we're never going to stop the movie. Because I keep seeing kids that look like me in my oncologist office. So we can't stop fighting until it's done. And it can be done because environmental cancer is the only cancer that we know how to stop because we know it's causing it. It's so easy. So easy. So many other cancers to be worried about right now. And here we are being attacked while I'm going through immunotherapy, by the way, because cancer is not a slow ride and it's not an easy ride and it's not a guaranteed beginning or end. So I'm in the middle of immunotherapy being attacked by these people that have been misinformed somehow. Hopefully we'll come out and do the right thing. You can never guarantee what politically motivated people are doing. We're hoping they'll do the right thing. We believe in them. The system and the process has to work because it's all we have as residents and citizens. And for them to come out and do the right thing and redact and retract this absurd story, or like, I would love to see what kind of fabricated proof they have. So far, I think the only proof they have is that they thought they were connecting dots in their mind, which they're not. And the reason I say that, and again, I don't believe at all what they're saying, but if they think that we're a Chinese company because a Chinese woman works at Cinema Lib, and that is what they're saying. It's true. They're saying that. Now, I think it's really crazy. You know, the owner is Philippe Diaz, who won, I believe, won an Academy Award. He won a bunch of awards for a movie he made in the 70s, and he said, I'm going to make social justice movies. So he came back and did that. So, again, I don't believe that it has anything to do with anybody's nationality. But if they really want to think about that, then why aren't they worried about Mosaic themselves, who has actually Chinese minds and Chinese businesses? You can Google it. They have their own Chinese branch. So, you know, if they're saying that about us, what about Mosaic? Don't you think that maybe the Chinese could just skip little old us and just go right into Mosaic and start influencing policy where it counts through an executive vice president? Okay, so to me, it's ridiculous. And again, if their only piece of evidence is that there is somebody from China working at Cinema Lib, then I think we have to look at Mosaic with the same light and ask Debbie Dooley, Mr. Krim, and Jenna Persons-Mulicka to investigate Mosaic in its fullest and find out what's going on with that. Maybe somehow it's all connected in their minds. I don't know. We don't believe it. Again, we don't believe any of this. We don't think any of it is real. It's so fabricated and ridiculous. And we are really upset about it. Anyway, I have been yapping, and I would love to bring on our good friend and there he is, Mr. Garrett Ramey, to the show. Hey, everybody. Hey, Garrett.
Hi, how are you? How you doing?
Yeah, thanks for joining me. What a crazy thing, huh?
Oh, absolutely. You touched on a lot of good points here, about our documentary. I mean, this is something that I believe was inspired by God, because I had two choices. I could either bend over and submit, or I can actually tell my story. And I chose to tell my story. And, we had met you because you were getting treatment, and you're scrolling through Facebook and you come across our posts and you're seeing us proactive in our communities trying to fight this phosphate giant. And, we all came together. And the way that this documentary was assembled, I think this is what they fear, because we can produce a documentary for very little expense and just volunteer dedication, because all I wanted was my story to be told. I'm not looking for money, and you're not looking for money. The studio wasn't looking for money. And we all came together. It was a miracle that this was even able to be assembled in this network like this. And, we did this, and you talked about the rate of success in your opening. And, that can be measured in two different ways. We can observe it by how many downloads we have. It's 550 million downloads, a significant number of people that have seen this documentary and comprehend it. I mean, is that a great way to measure this success? Or can we measure our success by their influence to try to take this off the market by sending their spies into our screenings. I mean, is this the? I mean, we're getting attention from both ways now, you know. So what are they? What do they really fear? You know, when we created this documentary, the intent was to begin dialogue in the state of Florida, so that we could start educating the public on this, so we could start giving toxic tours to our candidates, you know, and our legislators that are currently in. And, you know, we've expanded tremendously into the political body, and now we are making influence, because right here in Manatee County, we overturned the establishment and we took over our county. We took it back from the special interests like Mosaic and the developers. And there's been this favoritism culture going on, and they really haven't had any opposition from anybody. But when we have, you know, I'm a Republican, and we have a Republican base here in Florida. We're majority Republican. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm addressing it and I'm attacking it, because this is a nonpartisan issue. This impacts people just like Republicans like me. I was impacted by them putting a phosphate mine in my backyard, and I could not obtain or maintain my organic status, my USDA organic status, because of what they do on their property. So when we're talking about property rights and we're talking about Republicans, you know, a culture of wearing blinders, of seeing red only, you know, this doesn't exist here, because what we do is we flip seats. And that's exactly what we did in Manatee County. We took over our county. We now have representation, and our quasi-judicial system that approved the Mosaic expansion in Manatee County in 2017 has now manifested into something that we can control. You know, we had no say before because they were rubber stamp, rubber stamp, rubber stamp. But now we have a voice because we were able to elect grassroots candidates. And it is so bad with the Republican Party here in Florida regarding their influence with the establishment. Okay, it's important that we say the establishment, because right now this MAGA movement is turning over these seats. And that's what we're doing. We're identifying politicians that serve special interests. And what we're doing is hiring statesmen that will serve their constituents. That's the difference. And that's what this movement's all about. And we are having great success here in Manatee County. You know, in Hillsborough County, we have Matt the Welder. He's been extremely vocal. I'm ready to hand him the baton. I mean, this guy's running for our governor now. You see how this happens? What happens is people become more engaged, and then it becomes personal. Like with me, I had two options: bend over and submit, or stand up and fight and tell my story. And now that story is being echoed across the globe, and they're intimidated by it. They're scared because we are making progress at a grassroots level, and it didn't cost us $1 to do it.
Yes, and you know what? That is what I was going to say. Like, you've got, I mean, and you know, our last screening, we had these two guys that really stood out as it was funny because we were like, we don't know if they're spying on the amendment, on the movie, on Stell, because she's been doing a lot of work, or potentially on one of the three fishermen who's being sued right now by, I think it's Cape Coral. So, you know, we weren't sure like what the motive was, but the fact is, you know, for $1,000, a company willing to take a gamble on us and the truth, we have been able to pull a giant corporation out of the woodwork. And like you said, we've always just wanted conversation, but they've never done that. And, you know, I find that is the biggest problem. You know, we were talking about it before, you know, in order, if they truly are doing nothing wrong, they always say it in sound bites, they should come and sit down and make the community understand or feel that. Before, they had a guy coming out talking about radiation, and he was giving these terrible excuses like, oh, you know, there's bananas, you have bananas with your radiation, you know, everybody's exposed. And the community felt very belittled and just not heard at all. Now they won't even speak to the community. So how can there be meaningful dialogue if the other half doesn't come to the table? So this is, again, what we still fight for. You know, DeSoto, they're going to come back 2030. Molly said potentially 2033. So we still have a battle. They're trying to wait till everybody forgets. But the thing is, we're not going to let them forget.
what they're doing in DeSoto County right now is they're trying to stack the cards in favor of the special interests right now. Right now, in fact, the interesting story, one of our county commissioners that we fired is now the director of planning there and is in charge of hiring the staff. So now she's just selling out another county to the developers. And, this culture of favoritism in Florida is it's being exposed, and Manatee County is the poster child. That's where I'm at, Manatee County. And, we are the poster child for this corruption. And what they're asking for is another documentary to be made. That's all they're doing, because now we can do one on the favoritism culture, phosphate favoritism. It doesn't matter whether it's the developers or, Mosaic. Mosaic just less frequently has to come before the county commissioners. But if you sit and if you attend your board meetings and you see what's occurring in those board meetings, you see citizens being vocal. They're utilizing a system, but it's not working for them. And this system was designed for the citizens' approval through representation. They've made a mockery of it. And what that does is it compounds a problem that's already there with our government, because we have no representation. And that's it's extremely damaging to the community. And where you don't feel like you have a voice. And what this movie did was give us that opportunity to have a voice, because now we're able to educate the public on the other side of phosphate mining. And our intent was to create dialogue. That was the intent of this documentary. But they don't want to communicate. This is the crap that they do. This is the retaliation that they do. Chinese propaganda, Chinese Communist Party propaganda. I mean, where is the connection to that? Wouldn't that issue actually be with the studio instead of our documentary? I mean, our documentary was just published by them. Right, it wasn't. We were not connected to it in any way. It's so ridiculous that they could just project stuff like this. And I honestly believe that this is a PAC, the political committee and the PAC influence. Because, we've done a lot of investigating in this, and Matt the Welder also has unveiled a lot of this in Florida. And, he's been a champion of making the connecting the money. And that's what we did in Manatee County. We showed the people that we had a low voter turnout in our primaries, but that was advantageous to us because we were able to have the engaged voters and participate in this and actually make the right decision for the county. And I'd like to just kind of backtrack a little bit, because this movement in Manatee County all started with 12 of us in a library room having a meeting, a town hall meeting about how we could expose this favoritism in Florida. So 12 of us sitting in this room, and I said, well, why don't we just use social media? I mean, it's free. It's a platform. Let's try to find others in the community and network and communicate, because this is how this documentary came together. We just met each other, and I mean, I was a little apprehensive, and we didn't tell a whole lot of my story for time restraints, but reflecting back, we see every benchmark that we made, and now we're here where we're flipping seats in government, and we've got these people scared shitless. When we gave these election results during our primaries, this sent a shockwave all the way to Tallahassee. Now we have 66 counties asking us, how did you do it? How did you do that? Well, what we did is we united. We didn't say Democrat and Republican, and we can't talk to each other. What we did is we agree on certain stuff. Let's address this and let's get representation in there, because we have all Republicans on our board of county commissioners. 7 seats are filled by Republicans. So we have to work with that party. If it was Democrat, I'd probably be a registered Democrat so that I can control the primary outcome.
Sure. And that's it. And I remember when I first met you, that's what I was amazed about, was that you were just so devoted to the topic. We always say, like, you can't look at the environment through a political party's platform talking points. You have to judge every politician through their environmental, voting. And so you guys are very meticulous about that. And, I love that you bring it up, because the county commissioner is, and a lot of these city councils, these are supposed to be the sieves that stop the corruption and allow the people to have literally clean water on them. And those are the broken areas. And, I think when we woke up and realized that we've been slandered on C-SPAN, right? And then now we've been slandered on other places that, all of a sudden, wait a second, the movie is now in this congressional record as this crazy thing, that we are now find ourselves in the middle of a new movie. That I love your idea, because we have to, and we actually, just so everybody watching us from the other side knows, are in the middle of shooting it right now.
I challenge the Tea Party of Florida, or whatever that organization is, to contact me, and let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation about what's occurring in Manatee County, because we don't even have an REC anymore, a Republican Executive Committee, that is. We don't have one because they shut it down. They shut it down because of our influence. They refused to get rid of the chair. We've had 2 sexual scandals in Manatee County and Sarasota with the Republican chairs of the party. And they've implemented bylaws that you cannot get rid of them. They have to be voted out during the voting session. Well, the voting session came in December, and guess what they did? They said, we don't have an REC anymore, because wouldn't it have been easier just to fire the chair? Yeah, I mean, they're outnumbered. We control the vote. Never in history has this ever occurred where it's been so gratifying with delayed gratification. This documentary, with us educating the public, we would love to get this on as a ballot initiative and just vote this industry the hell out of here. Right now, Mosaic's bankrupt. If you look at their stocks, they're collapsing. They're hurting tremendously. They're done. I have their rental property behind me. They just evacuated everybody out of that house. I call it the Mosaic Hotel Hell, because there's no place for their out-of-state subcontractors to work. Here they are bringing out-of-state contractors to Florida, and they want to claim about jobs and all this. I mean, it's so hypocritical, and we've exposed it all. That's why they're mad. And you know what? Tough shit.
Right. That's the part. I mean, it's amazing to me that here we are 5 years after us going in the field together, still being able to talk about the problem not having changed yet. Like, this is the crazy thing. Like, they ignored us, but you know what? The thing is, the movie's not going anywhere, because we're there, we're out there, and we're going to keep screening. Like, I love the fact that so many people keep coming to our screenings, and we keep getting Q&As, and we keep getting to talk to people. And, I love that our ultimate goal is to do all 60 counties. Now, it's funny, the story you mentioned, like, little background on the movie, I had been here probably since December-ish, and I was trying to get a movie together, and I just couldn't put it together, and nobody would really talk to me, because it's a very tight-knit group, and you have to be careful because you don't know who's who, and I totally understand that. Now, I've worked in a lot of very tight-knit groups and difficult situations, and I've done that, and I understood everybody. So I remember I just couldn't get anything done on the movie. I was there for 2 months, and I was like, what am I going to do? I'm out of money. And then all of a sudden there was a meeting, Florida 67, of everybody coming together. And I went in, and Molly brought me, and I came in and got to meet everybody. And I remember, I think it was Jeremy or somebody was like, so what's your story? You guys had me speak in person, and and then afterwards we were all able to connect, because you could tell that my story was sincere. It's never been a project. It's never been a one and done. Like, this movie's so dear to my heart, so dear to Sierra's heart. You guys are family, and we're all going through a lot of health issues, and we know how important the path is. And I love what you said. It's like partisan doesn't matter. And especially right now, we need to get everybody rejoined and focused on the topics and the path. What's the path we can all take together? And so, we would love to screen this movie, by the way, anywhere in Florida. We'd love to show everybody because nobody is immune. And I say that due to aquifers. I say that due to surface water, groundwater, and a lot of other topics. So, here we go. And by the way, yes, Matt the Welder was at our screening. He's an incredible guy. He is extremely well researched. Absolutely. So, Molly, there's Molly. Hey, Molly. Thank you. Thank you, Molly. Always appreciate seeing you there. And hey, Mari. Thank you. But here's the thing, guys. I had lost a lot of hope. And then when I met you all, I got it back because I thought these guys, first of all, they beat Mosaic and DeSoto. So it's already a success story, that's the one written in stone. And I thought it can be done. These guys have shown me it can be done. So, you guys also like changed my life around in that way.
I wanted to also tell you with that, updating you also that the candidates that we just put in those seats in our county commissioner chairs, they all saw the documentary, and we sent out a candidate survey asking them if they saw the documentary. So then I'm at a Republican meeting at the REC meeting, the last one they had in October or November. And or actually it was before that, I'm sorry. But anyways, I was there and I was talking to one of the candidates and he says, hey, Mosaic just gave me an invitation to come out to their facility. I said, you know what? I want you to do it. I want you to go out there and hear what they have to say. And then you already have the knowledge of our documentary before you're going there. So you already know more than they think you know. So he come back and reported to me that, yes, they were doing it. They were putting the schmooze on him, asking him how they can, and he declined their campaign contribution.
Great. That's fantastic. That is, and those are the kind of changes that make the impact, that make the effect.
But we couldn't have done that without the documentary. This documentary has been a great tool for us.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, we're actually really proud that they're fighting back so hard now because it does show that we've had an impact. It shows that, the word came out. We're going to continue. Like I said, we're going to keep screening and we're not going to stop and we're going to be with everybody. We're going to be releasing another movie soon. And we're going to be just continually keeping everybody updated. I'm curious to see what's going to happen next. We want to talk more to this America First Tea Party. We want to talk to Common Sense America, and we want to talk to the House of Representatives rep because they all have it wrong, and we need to have them corrected. And again, maybe we can get their attention with this. And even though they're coming in talking about one thing, maybe we can come in and start talking about phosphate mining and the health of the community, which is,
it's like you said, though, apparently they haven't seen the documentary.
Right. How could they have, it's so ridiculous, that it, we just, at first we were just going to stop laughing. We read the press release. We're like, is this real? Like, there's just no way. But then it got to the point where we started seeing it everywhere and thought, this is just insane. So we wanted to take today to correct everything, put the truth out there, talk about it. We don't know again what's going to happen. We'll keep everybody updated. And so Garrett, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up here in a minute. I just want to see if you had any last thoughts or want to say anything to them because I know they're watching before we head out.
Well, we destroyed Mosaic in the DeSoto County workshops, and that was extremely embarrassing for them. Here they are talking about their process and how every generation they're going to change. They're getting better with every generation. And I'm just wondering when that generation is going to come because they're still running a 1930 model, for their beneficiation process of separation. For every ton of phosphate, they create 5 tons of this radioactive toxic waste. And now they're trying to get that approved to be utilized as a road base throughout Florida and nationally. Because they don't know what to do with all this waste, because that's what this industry does. They're professional polluters. They create more waste, and the phosphate is only a byproduct of it.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Yes, and this roadway thing is crazy, you know, and just real quickly before we head out, you know, the fact that they're going to test it on their facility means they're still doing like a canary in a coal mine thing. They're still going to
Exactly.
put a bunch of people in there to work on it, and if those people die, then they'll take the data down. Now that's really messed up. Like, we have to have more. We need to have more compassion right now, especially to get everybody back together. So that I just think
We are really concerned, though, Eric. In Hillsborough County, we're very concerned about what's occurring there, because they're trying to develop on these previously mined lands now in Hillsborough, because they ran out of land for development. So now they're trying to convert these old phosphate mines and Superfund sites that into condominiums. It's gone to a point right now, and don't forget that the industry suppressed that information regarding the phosphate initiative. They hid this data from them. They purchased their own studies so that it could not be released to the public. And Matt the Welder exposed that. So that, these are the battles that we're still continuing to fight here in Florida, because now we're faced with them trying to profit on their pollution by utilizing it as a road base throughout Florida.
Absolutely. And, and I can't believe that they're trying to do this reclaimed land thing. The fact that they've already had a failure a few times around Florida and have been sued, and people got cancer. And we're a lot of our friends are people that got cancer in these communities, and they lost loved ones. I can't believe that Florida is allowing them to continue to do this, but maybe they won't, because we're all out there speaking up. So Garrett, it's good to see you as always, man. Thank you for
my stepfather was just diagnosed for cancer too. So, this is hitting home really hard. So, we're seeing it everywhere. We need to get it out of our food, get these industries out of here, and hold them accountable for poisoning the population, especially their own employees or subcontractors. Thank you.
Absolutely. Great to see you, man. Sending good health your way. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
Right, see you, Garrett. But there you go, everybody. That was Garrett Ramey. Amazing. This guy, I'm telling you, from the minute I've met him, he has never slowed down. And he has his own health challenges that he's battling. But you'd never know it. He just doesn't stop. He's out there to make a change. He's so passionate about it. And as a result, and as you heard, they had change. And how do you make change? You make change on a local level. And the more people you can make change with, the wider the change becomes, the stronger that sieve becomes again to fight for the people. Here we are, a movie that just literally follows your everyday residents and to see what they see in their backyards. And as a result, we're being attacked by a pack. And I think Garrett's right. Sierra and I were talking about it. Absolutely. That was our idea. It's a pack. And we know who the pack is, because we only really have one group that doesn't like us, and that is the phosphate industry here, obviously. Well, I guess maybe there's a few, but the phosphate industry coming in. And, here's the thing about Mosaic. When we spoke to Dr. Berkey a while ago, they were trying to sell the gypstack water back to towns as non-potable water. They've always been trying to sell their waste. Remember, they sell their waste of hydrofluorosilicic acid as fluoride, and that goes out to people. So them trying to put this roadway out is very in their wheelhouse. This is what they do. They're always trying to keep their profits. How can we make more money? The problem is these are so toxic. EPA says they're not supposed to put them out anywhere. So what are they doing now? Mosaic not only has this agriculture, but they also do live feedstock. They also have potential sales with U.S. Department government. They also are working right now to do critical minerals. And that's the thing about the C-SPAN thing. They don't want just us. They want rare earth minerals. So they're trying to find ways of extracting more and more minerals. This is about a mineral war of profit. And if there's any way, I feel like, they're saying that, like, we don't want Mosaic to eat. But what we're saying is we just want them to go to the bathroom in the toilet. That's all. We want them to be potty trained. Okay? So in a simplified way, do what you want, but your output must be clean, not give a bunch of us cancer. I didn't get cancer in Florida. I don't want to sound like I'm misrepresenting it, but my cancer connected with what a lot of other people go through there. So heart's going out to you, Garrett, and your family. I'm really sorry to hear about diagnosis. Please keep us updated. And everybody out there, if you're suffering from cancer or you have a loved one suffering from cancer, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We are just people that are going through it, and we want it. We're here for you. We're here to fight, and we're not going anywhere. And the more that they try to push us out of the way to speak, the louder we're all going to speak together, because we are going to stop this kind of environmental cancer. It's not a movie, it's a mission. And the mission is people shouldn't get cancer because of where they live. And companies should be responsible. It doesn't sound crazy. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Garrett, for being on with us. Thank you, everybody here. I see Mitch. I see Carl. I see Tiffany. Now, again, craziness. I just wanted to set the record straight. We are not a Chinese propaganda movie. We are a movie that was made by grassroots and a lot of people caring to open up their world enough. Now, think about this. They're going through this terrible experience, and they're opening that to the entire world. We were able to get these stories to the world before they were being blocked by local press. So that was the goal of the movie. Now they were willing to open up all of what they were doing. Now that is an amazing bravery, that if you haven't bared your soul in front of a camera, especially to expose your problem in the hopes that someone else's is better, it's really hard to explain. Anyway, everybody, we have nothing to do with Chinese government. It's absurd, and we want it retracted. It's harmful, and it is absolutely absurd. We're going to keep fighting for everybody's rights, and we're going to keep speaking up, and we're going to stay together. All right, everybody. Thank you. There's more lives on the way. Nice to see you, Mitch. Same to you. Elizabeth, nice to see you. Elizabeth was there when the spies came in to our most recent screening. And again, we don't know who they were looking at, but they were looking at somebody. You can watch on our YouTube channel. You can go to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We need as many subscribers as possible. We need this to go out as possible. It's Humanimal Pictures. Please go check it out. We have the C-SPAN video along with Carl and Stell doing some commentary. Okay, great to see everybody. And let's hang in there, and we're going to stop this smear campaign in its tracks and fight back. See you guys soon.